Welcome to Inside Out. I'm your host, Haleigh Gross. Here I'll be discussing teens' experiences on social media, mental health awareness, body positivity, trend alerts, and so much more. Though the fashion industry and media have their faults, I pledge to show young women that they can love themselves even if they don't fit the ideal beauty standard. Self-expression and confidence are the keys to making yourself stand out and get in tune with your creative mind. Now to the show.
Hi guys, welcome back to Inside Out. I know I have been a little bit MIA, and that's just been due to me getting super sick at college, and just everyone around me is also super sick, and the dust in the rooms, and I'm just constantly have sinus issues. And basically on Halloween, uh, we went out to a little party and we came back, and me and my roommates were all not feeling good. Everyone we went to the party with was not feeling good either. So we were like, okay, let's go to urgent care to see what's wrong. And I hate having to go to urgent care by myself, having to take care of myself up here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's wrong with me. So I ended up not going to urgent care. My roommates did go to urgent care and they got antibiotics. I wasn't feeling that bad. I thought I was healing, recovering. I was like, okay, no, I don't need it. I don't need to go spend $40 on getting antibiotics and going through the insurance and everything. So I was like, I am just gonna wait it out and see if it gets worse. I went home on the weekend after that because I was like, I need to get out of this moldy dorm so that I can recover. And I took my roommate Tatum home also. And so we went home and we kind of felt better when we went home, honestly. And then we came back, and I had been having a little bit trouble eating because I was so nauseous all the time. And that had been going on for like 2 weeks at this point. So I was like, oh no, what is wrong with me? I'm like looking it up on the internet to try to figure out what possibly could be affecting me right now. And I went to urgent care and they kind of just told me like it might be the after effects from you being sick. It might just be like built up like mucus. If that's a TMI, I'm sorry, but it might just be like built up from the time you were sick because you were sick for a little bit. And so they run this blood test. I do like every test that they have in the urgent care. Everything's negative. They're like, we don't really know what's wrong with you, but we're gonna give you anti-nausea meds and you take those until tell us how you feel. So I went to urgent care that day, went home, it was already late, I couldn't get the prescription. The next day I pick up the pills and I actually like felt a lot better, to be honest. I still get waves of like being kind of sick, but I'm definitely recovering. And my roommates are recovering too. I think they had an upper respiratory infection, but luckily none of us had COVID. With those college events, you never know. So I'm glad we all got tested and we got that all figured out. But another thing I wanted to talk about on a brighter note was I had my first film festival for this film club that I joined at UCF, a new one. And our film club finally got approved as being a real film club because they have the official UCF film club, which is just oh, hey guys, we're gonna join this Facebook group and we're gonna watch this film and then we're gonna come together and discuss it on this day. But with this new film club, we're gonna get a topic, we're gonna get into a group, and we're gonna make a film for a festival. And so this year's theme was, or this semester's theme, it was Halloween. And they were like, okay, you are going to make a Halloween movie, a scary movie for Hallow Scream, basically. And so we decided to make this movie where our monster was a trash man, a big guy made of trash who basically just kills anyone who isn't eco-friendly in the forest and like litters and throws trash everywhere. And so it just is the story of these like five teenagers that go into the woods and they're like, okay, like let's litter, and then they're getting killed off one by one, like in the way that they littered. One of the girls dropped a Starbucks cup, and so the monster like sucks her brains out with a straw, and it's just supposed to be like quirky and kind of funny and like vintagey feel, like a kind of like a just like an ironic thriller. And we wanted to have a few like funny cameos with like Smokey the Bear, but we didn't get that far. Unfortunately, I had to stay up for nights editing this little tiny clip that we ended up getting done. I met with a few of them in the library after we finished filming for the last time, and they were just like, okay, we didn't get everything we needed. I met with the director and one of the other stagehands, and so I was just like, okay, like, how do you guys want me to edit this? Because I know we don't have all the footage, and I know we didn't finish filming. And they're like, okay, I think we're gonna make a trailer. And I was like, thank God, because I did not know how I was gonna pull that together. And so I grinded out for 2 nights working on this trailer, and I was like, oh my God, it's not gonna be good enough for any of these people. These, like, all of them are like older than me and like have done film stuff for forever, so I'm like, oh no, I'm scared. Like, is this gonna be good? And so I just threw something together. It was 3 minutes long. You can view it on my YouTube, which is just Haleigh Michelle, and it was called The Litter Bug. It ran for like 3 minutes. It's a little like eerie trailer. I know some people didn't get it in the audience, but at the end of the day, I thought it was well perceived or well received. And so at this little showing we had, I was walking by myself to go to this little showing, and I'm like crossing the street, and my roommate, the one that actually lives with me in this room, she was walking across the street too. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to my film thing. And she's like, oh my God, can I come? And I'm like, yes, let's go. And so we go, and we sit down, and we watch like 100 films right before mine comes up. And honestly, a lot of them were like feature films. Like, a lot of the students here do literally amazing work. It's so crazy, like, how like cinematic some of these were. And me and Alyssa sit down, we're watching, whatever. I'm trying to figure out how to submit this because I did not. We have a Discord chat, and I guess nobody viewed the Discord, and it was kind of my responsibility to go turn this in. So I text the group chat. I'm like, hey guys, how do I turn this in? They're like, oh, I don't know. Go talk to somebody. And I'm like, okay, let me. I walk up. I'm like, hey, do you have this film? Blah, blah, blah. Because it wasn't. They did like a whole big intro thing for like all the films, and our film wasn't in there. And we were like, okay, I guess we're the underdogs because we're not counted in this little preview thing. And so I go up and I'm just like, oh my God, like, how do I turn this in? Like, I wasn't aware. And he's like, okay, like, just DM me on Discord. And I'm like, okay, like, that's fine. I go back, sit down, I DM him on Discord, and I don't know if it went through because I don't know how to use Discord. And then I go back up and I'm like, hey, did you get I sent the message on Discord, did you get it? And he's like, yeah, I got it, like, you're coming up, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I go back, I sit down. I ended up not sitting with my group because I didn't know where they were, but they were all sitting in this big group. That's okay. It was fine. I sat with my roommates, ended up coming. It was nice. And then a few other people from my building that knew I was grinding so hard on this ended up coming as well. And so, watch all the films, and they have us go up after we watch the film. They have us go up and we can talk about our film. If anybody in the audience has questions, we can go ahead and answer those. And so we go up and we're a huge group. Like, we're bigger than like any of the other groups because we had all of our actors there too, because everyone got really invested in our movie and we all pretty much became really good friends because of it. And so we had everybody, all of the actors in the movie come up, and we casted the whole play outside of the group. So we had a lot of actors. And so everyone's up there and they're like, okay, like, tell us a little bit about your film, to literally everyone. And then when it comes to us, we're like, all right, well, we're going to talk a little bit about our film. The director was like, okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the film. And then the guy that was like leading the entire competition was just like, oh, like, we already know what it's about. And we're like, what? Like, how do you know what it's about? And he's just like, oh, I watched the trailer, I just watched it. And he asked literally every other group, oh, can you explain your message in more detail? Can you blah, 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 blah in more detail? I'm like, why can't we, who only put out a 3-minute video, why can't we, like, explain ours a little bit? Because it was more complicated than it seemed. It was just Trash Man, but we have a little bit more detail that we need to give out. And they were just being kind of rude. I don't know if it's because I turned the film in late and wasn't really on the radar of them for some reason. I don't know. But they were just rude to us, and we were like, ugh. And then other, one of the co-directors, he was like, oh, like, I want to know what you think the film is about. And the guy at the front just kind of drew a blank. And then we weren't allowed to take questions. And I was just like, okay, like, I don't know why. We were being singled out there for our little trailer. Maybe it's because we were like, okay, like, we can't do a trailer. Maybe they thought we were too good to produce a whole movie. I don't know. But after that, we all got together and we were like, okay, we're gonna go to Olive Garden. And so we go to Olive Garden and we're talking about uh, what just happened at the film competition, because we were like, why did they not let us say anything about our film? Because we barely put any of it out there. We put out like a few like quotes and like some screams and like some blood, and but you could barely tell what it's about. So we were all kind of pissed over the table, and we knew that there were films that were not as good as our 3-minute trailer, and they still got to go up and they got the full questioning, and it was just like, why did we, like, we're the outsiders, I swear. But and they treated us like the underdogs, and I was just like, oh my god. But hopefully we will get to be finishing that film, and I will get to have it up on my website and my YouTube, maybe I'll put it on my Facebook as well. But I'm really looking forward to finishing that one, and next semester we are going to start on a new film. It might be a holiday film. I'm not sure. I didn't go to the meeting yesterday because apparently nobody went, so I don't know what's going on. They're interviewing us right now about our films and about our roles in the film. And that's pretty much what the next few meetings are going to be. And then they're going to start us out with the new film theme, and we're going to have another cute, quirky, fun contest for us to all participate in. But I also wanted to talk about my living situation next year because it's getting towards that time where everyone's picking, and it's getting a little bit scary for me because I have a few friends that like want to live, that I have the option of living with, because not everybody here can find, it's usually 4 roommates that you need, so not everyone here can usually find like four or 5 roommates to have in their rooms. And so my friend Jack is very much a luxury apartment guy, and I unfortunately, or fortunately, have Florida prepaid dorm for another year. So I'm like, oh no, how do I try to not live dorm life? But I'm like confined by dorm life right now, because dorm life, you have to be quiet at a certain time. Like, you get a really tiny little space for the same amount of money as an apartment would be. I don't have a kitchen. I share a room. I have somebody sleeping right next to me for like pretty much the same price as you could get an apartment around here per month. But most of the campus affiliated apartments are severely expensive. Like, my friend Jack, he lives in the hub, and that is one of the most expensive apartment complexes around here. There was People are signing leases in Arden Villas, which is where that girl just recently went missing. And my mom was like, no, absolutely not that one. And I'm like, lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, but I agree. I won't be living in Arden Villas. That one's also pretty expensive for what it is. But there's some nice dorms, and I know that I'm in like the Lead Scholars program, so with dorms, you can get like nicer dorms because of Lead Scholars. You get first picks. The thing is, I don't know anybody dorming next year or anybody that wants to dorm, so I feel like I'm out of luck with that. I may just have to pull the money out and see what I have and see what it's gonna get me in the real world out here, because living on campus next year doesn't look like a go, especially because for safety precautions also, considering it is so easy to walk into my building. Like, anybody can let you in, and the doors stay open for like a minute after you walk in. And literally every campus building around here, there's no security. There's pretty much not anything like past the hours of like 8 o'clock that I see from this area alone. And honestly, having this close neighbors, like, I feel bad if I'm loud or if I'm like play music or something. Like, I just feel like I'm inconveniencing everyone around me, so I kind of just want to keep to myself. I want to be out of the dorm. Most people I know that are dorm living, they are not in that dorm 24/7. They're out and about. They are like spending money, doing anything to like be out of the dorm, going to their friend's place that have like actual like an area you could sit down, a fridge, like area where you can cook. Literally, like, anything more than little tiny cinder block dorm. But honestly, next year, the only thing I can hope for is a bedroom, a single bedroom. And with that, I'll be happy wherever I end up. I have a friend that wants to get a house, and that honestly struck me so hard. And I was like, oh my god, like, you might be onto something, because she said that with moving into a house, the only thing we would really have to pay extra deposit, furniture. And we said we would just thrift all the furniture if we were to come into a house, which wouldn't end up being that expensive. And so it's honestly like $200 less per month if we decide to live in a house. We can also get an animal, a pet, a kitten, we're thinking. But with that option, I don't know if I would want to be paying utility bills and then having to look after a house and a lawn and all the extra stuff you have to do when it comes to living in a house. I know a few other people are also trying to live in a house, but there is not that many listings around here. We did drive by one that it's probably the cheapest one, and honestly, it's a nice big floor plan laid out. There's one master bedroom, and then there's three regular bedrooms, and then those three people have to share a bathroom. But pretty much, those homes are something that I'm looking at right now, and I really hope that I figure that out, because as some of you may remember, last year I was almost left without housing for some reason until Brianna and Tatum found me and were like, hey, we need one more person, like, come in our group and come live with us. And I was like, yes, amazing, awesome. Because we ended up having to split up because we didn't get the room we wanted. And so it was just Brianna and Tatum, and then me and this other girl. That other girl was like, I don't feel like I'm gonna get housing if we like stay looking together, so, and I don't know you that well, so like, I'm gonna go live with my friends. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm solo, I guess. And so I was honestly out of luck. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be living in Apollo or Libra, which are kind of like the nobody wants to go their dorms, like, stay away from those dorms. And I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm gonna be sharing a bathroom with like 5 people. That's fine. That is honestly fine. And I'm gonna have a million roommates and blah blah blah. And it was just like, And I remember running around the studio like freaking out. I'm like, Dawn, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Guys, like, I'm not going to college. I should just stay here. Like, and I ended up getting the call during, um, while I was at the studio. I ended up, while I was at the studio, getting the call. And they were like, all right, like, please just call the admin at UCF and be like, hey, put me in this room. I spoke to this person, blah, 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 blah. And so Brianna's mom ended up getting me this room. I knew if it went on any longer without me having housing, my mom would have been like, hey, what? Like, but apparently I was able to get better housing with lead scholars, and I know my friend Mario ended up getting his own single room in one of the communities, Neptune, because he was in lead scholars. And when you're in those special programs, apparently you get a lot of benefits, but I didn't reap the benefits, apparently, and I was just running around being crazy and not knowing where I was living. But with that, I think I'm going to take a little commercial break and I will catch you guys after the commercials.
Welcome to Inside Out. I'm your host, Haleigh Gross. Here I'll be discussing teens' experiences on social media, mental health awareness, body positivity, trend alerts, and so much more. Though the fashion industry and media have their faults, I pledge to show young women that they can love themselves even if they don't fit the ideal beauty standard. Self-expression and confidence are the keys to making yourself stand out and get in tune with your creative mind. Now to the show.
Admirers, connoisseurs, and enthusiasts of the art world, witness a visual spectacle like no other. Come visit the Gallery at the Theater, one of South Florida's best-kept secrets. Located in the heart of Boca Raton, the gallery features a diverse catalog of sculptures and paintings by world-renowned artists. But that's not all. All of the art is showcased in a live studio setting, home to South Florida's very own Brooklyn Cafe show, starring Dawn and Freddie S. And to top it all off, our collection includes signed memorabilia from some of the world's most iconic names in sports and entertainment history. So come on over, enjoy a cup of coffee, and experience the magic of the Gallery at the Theater. Located at 2400 Northwest Boca Raton Boulevard in Suite 13. Or give us a call at 888-994-4995.
You're watching Inside Out with Haleigh, where I touch on the inside and outside aspects that affect teenagers and young women. Now, back to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back. So, to close out the show for today, I wanted to talk about going back into fashion. And I feel like I never really touch on fashion since I moved to college. I feel like I used to touch a little bit more on topics and issues with fashion when I was back at the studio. But today I wanted to touch on new trend cycles. I've seen a lot of something called subversive basics. And I don't know if a lot of you have seen this trend on TikTok that's going around. Basically, it is this trend where these girls that go to fashion school in New York, that's like the most common topic of these get ready with me videos. So it'll just be a girl, her caption usually, get ready with me for fashion school in New York, and basically she starts with like a base, like maybe like a little crop top and a little shorts, and then she'll get out the scarf, and she'll take the scarf and she'll tie it around like her bust and her like stomach, and then she'll get like arm warmers, put those on, and tie something around your neck, tie something around your legs. Like, basically it's just like a lot of solids and a lot of colors that draw your eyes to that specific part of your body. And I know, like, this is a very popular style in New York right now, it seems, with the subversive tights trend as well. Basically, this is just where you cut a hole in the neck, or you cut a hole in the crotch of the tights. You pull the tights over your head. You cut little armholes too, and then these girls, they cut holes in the sleeves, in the stomach area too, and they create designs within the tights. I think it's very cool and cute. I think that is one of the takeaways that I would use from that trend. I know people do it with fishnets, which is what I've done that one too. I think that one's so cute. And I think people are going way more back into the 90s style of layering, and honestly more of like a maybe trashy, I would say, style. More layered up, just more like glam, maybe, with some low-waisted jeans and the Juicy Couture zip-ups. I have seen a lot of those on the internet, and I know the camisole is coming back very much, the uncropped version, which I think is bold for us at this age because we are advancing fast into the trend cycles. But another thing I wanted to talk about was personal style, and there was this really one popular creator on TikTok. I think her name is Anna, and she is always known to pull these crazy, outrageous outfits out and just be like, okay, like this is what I'm wearing for today. It'll be like a bedazzled like diaper and like some kind of knitted shirt and crazy boots, heels, sneakers, just million colors, million patterns, like. And she's like, okay, like this is how I look. If other people don't like it, like I don't have to report back to them. Like I'm just gonna wear what I want to wear, and it is my own personal style. And so I know a lot of people have trouble picking out their personal style. Honestly, me too. I'm fluctuating a lot currently, and I hope that I can be like one of these beautiful women on TikTok and try to form my own personal style. And there's another woman on TikTok, and she is kind of like a little pinup girl with her like Betty Boop hair, and she wears like big grandma gowns, and then she'll wear like a cute little collar. But she's one of my favorites too, and I hope that people can learn more about developing their personal style. I'm going to touch more on that in my next podcast next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast, and I will see you guys next week. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching Inside Out with Haleigh. Tune in next Wednesday for more talk about connecting with your inner and outer self, along with a range of other topics regarding young women and social media. See you next week.